Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, January 10th. This is the live stream for studentloanjustice.org. If you're watching us on Twitter tonight, I can hopefully see your comments. So normally we do live commenting on Facebook, but tonight I'm going to try doing it on Twitter. So let me just say, if you have any questions or comments on Twitter, throw them out. And if I can see them, I will definitely respond to them. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very important, some might think nuanced, but in fact, extraordinarily important policy point to debate. So as hopefully most of you know, we are fighting for student loan cancellation. We started the petition in March 2020 calling for the president to cancel all federally owned student loans by executive order. President does have this power. Quite frankly, Donald Trump's biggest mistake of his presidency was not canceling, quite frankly, all federally owned loans in 2020. He's an idiot. So anyways, so here comes Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a massive disappointment. He was promising the sun and the moon before the election. Now he's essentially playing to the Republicans and saying, I'm not going to cancel loans. I can't cancel loans. I don't want to cancel the loans. People went to Harvard and Penn. It's all nonsense. It's all ridiculous. This lending system is failed. There is no saving it. There should be no saving it. So we are fighting absolutely for student loan cancellation. Make no mistake. But here is the important policy point. So today, earlier, some guy calling himself Numcat9, I assume it's a male, I don't know. And this happens from time to time, hit us arguing strongly against returning bankruptcy protections to student loans. So here's the backstory, guys. This is the most important thing I'm going to say tonight. In the current climate with Joe Biden president, we are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until the threat of bankruptcy is returned to the loans. Let me say that one more time. We are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until the threat of bankruptcy is returned to the loans. We have seen all manner of loan cancellation gimmicks come and go again since the early 90s. They have all been cruel jokes, and we, the borrowers, have been the punchline. Our opposition in Washington, D.C. fights tooth and nail, up to and including the Department of Education, fights tooth and nail behind the scenes to keep the threat of bankruptcy gone from student loans. Here today, right now, we could see Joe Biden tomorrow stand up and say, hey, everybody, I've had a change of heart. I'm going to cancel up to $50,000 in student loans. Vote for me. And a lot of people probably will. But the fact of the matter is that up to $50,000 will ultimately become meaningless. I mean, for a lot of people, 50,000 is like nothing anyways, chump change. But even for the people who have around 50,000, you're not going to get $50,000 in student loan cancellation. There's a good reason why they keep saying up to 50,000, and that's a salesman's word. That's a term of art. Up to $50,000 could mean anything, and if the Department of Education and Joe Biden and all his friends have their way, it will mean almost nothing for almost everyone, and it will mean absolutely nothing for many. We've seen these bad people in action for many years and decades, and we can spot a trick now. We've been tricked in the past. We will never be tricked again. We will not fall for this up to $50,000 bullshit. Pardon my French. So, but here's the problem. So a couple people, not many, but a few are coming around, like this Numcat number 9 guy, and without getting too insulting, let me just say, as best as I can determine, his argument is essentially that Returning bankruptcy is a defeatist thing. It is the middle ground. We should be fighting for far more than that. Settling for bankruptcy is only going to screw a whole bunch of people who are going to wind up in bankruptcy, which sucks. Bankruptcy is terrible. It's a terrible thing to have to do. So fighting for bankruptcy isn't going nearly far enough. And according to this NumCat number 9 person, probably shows that we, our group, me, whatever, are actually like conservative plants or something. So I'll deal with the second part first, but let me deal with the first part very first. People, bankruptcy and student loan cancellation are not competing proposals. They are not at odds with each other. In fact, the opposite is true. They are simpatico. They are intertwined. They are coupled. The one depends upon the other. In the current climate, our opposition would love to do a fake up to $50,000 loan cancellation. As long as the threat of bankruptcy is gone, that's precisely what they will do. And the band will cheer and the parades will happen. Confetti will come down. At the end of the day, you're not getting 50,000. You're getting like 9,000. And oh, by the way, in the year that it took us to do this, we added $9,000 onto your loan. So not only are bankruptcy and loan cancellation not competing against each other, that's ridiculous. The one depends on the other. Like I said, tomorrow, Joe Biden stands up, says, I'm canceling up to $50,000 in loans. Not anything meaningful is going to happen for almost everyone. Nothing will happen for many. That's not where we want to be. With the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, everything changes. Here's why. Before the pandemic, there was 38 or so million distressed student loan borrowers in the country. Today, it's probably closer to 40, 41, maybe even more million distressed student loan borrowers. In an average year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason in this country. So when bankruptcy protections are returned to student loans, trust me when I tell you that President Biden does not want to be the president who presides over a wave of bankruptcy filings large enough to overwhelm and seize the bankruptcy courts. Like I could see in a normal year, 1 million people file. If student loans were not meaningfully and broadly canceled, when bankruptcy protections are returned, we could see a wave of filings like 8, 9, 10 million people, like in 1 year. We could see, who knows, ultimately we could see 20, 25 million people file. So guys, that's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. And plus, the Department of Education doesn't want that either. They do not want that. They'd rather get some sort of negotiated settlement, whatever the case may be. So yeah, this NumCat number 9, that's a very dangerous argument that he's making. Anybody who wants actual student loan cancellation should be fighting with us for the passage of S2598. This is a bill, it's not perfect. It will return bankruptcy protections to federal student loans with a 10-year waiting period. So I hope this makes sense to you. Think about it another way. Think about it this way. Come May 1st, when this lending program is turned back on, if Joe Biden hasn't meaningfully canceled loans by then, and I don't think he will have, would you rather face that with the power of bankruptcy in your back pocket or without it? Do you want May 1st to roll around and you don't have bankruptcy rights? Or do you want May 1st to roll around and at least we have bankruptcy rights? Like, which is better? I think it's pretty obvious. And it's not one or the other. It's not either we get bankruptcy or we get loan cancellation. In fact, it's either we get bankruptcy or we're not going to get anything meaningful, including loan cancellation, period. That's the fact, ladies and gentlemen. We've been doing this for 17 years now. And a second point that I alluded to earlier, I will say, our opposition, we have seen this in years and decades past. Our opposition has gone to great lengths to thwart our push for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. And they've done it pretty well. And they've used precisely the same argument that this numbcat number 9 person, who, by the way, I invited to do a actual live stream with me here tonight, and I'm assuming it's a he, declined. He uses a fake name, runs away from a challenge to debate. I think that pretty much tells the tale with this character. And, you know, if I could see, if he wants to make any comments, I'm looking at the comments right now, so I'd be very happy to read them and respond to them. But apparently he's not interested. So yeah, guys, this becomes just incredibly important. This is getting bankruptcy back is the difference between actually getting meaningful student loan cancellation or getting a fake up to $50,000 bunch of bullshit. Pardon my French. So I can't speak for the other groups in this space. Quite frankly, it's one of the groups is quite frankly, we found close ties between them and a Republican lobbying firm in Washington, D.C. that is famous for creating fake grassroots groups. And the argument that they made, and probably still make, I don't know, I don't pay that much attention to anymore. And the argument that this numbcat number 9 guy was making was precisely the same. Oh, bankruptcy is a terrible thing to have to do. No, we don't want bankruptcy. We want loan cancellation instead. And that is just completely, that's the cheap shot that you can possibly imagine. However, I give them credit. If I was the opposition and if I was fighting for the lending system, I would employ exactly the same script. I mean, that's the best thing they got. They don't have much. So it's the best of a set of bad plays. So they're using it. We expected that they would. Whether this numbcat guy is on the payroll of the bad guys or not, I don't know. I really don't care, quite frankly. What I care is that everybody within the sound of my voice understands that we are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. And that's just a fact, guys. That's just a fact. Project forward, okay? Well, maybe one other quick point. The collection industry, they call student loans the golden unicorn of lending. In the absence of bankruptcy, absence of statutes of limitations, they've been given essentially a license to steal from us. And even going back to the days of Occupy Wall Street, when the prospect of a mass default was a real one, the collection industry has been drooling at the prospect of a mass default. As long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone, and as long as statutes of limitations remain gone, they would love nothing more than for May 1st to come, for them to turn the lending program back on, and for everybody to default on their loans. That's what they want. And believe me, they really, 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 really want that. So again, think back to your own situation. Come May 1st, when they turn the lending system back on, assuming they do, which who knows, but assuming they do you want to face May 1st with the threat of bankruptcy back on your side? Or do you want to face May 1st in the same state you're in now, which is with not one fucking thing, not one avenue of recourse on your side? Pardon my French. Well, I think it's pretty simple, guys. So if you want student loan cancellation like we do, then you will fight and fight hard for S2598. Please go to our website and click on the Call Your Senators thing this week. Call both of your senators. We need you. Another very helpful thing that I would ask everyone to do is, again, go to our website, go to our daily actions and do a week, a month, maybe 2 months, maybe even 3 months worth of our daily actions. They're quick. They usually require only Twitter, sometimes email, but usually you can do a couple weeks worth in probably less than 5 or 6 minutes. So please do that. The third and final thing I will request from everybody out there, if you actually want student loans canceled, go to our Medium site. This is where we've published like 5 articles in the past 2 weeks. We could really use some help getting those spread around. A lot of those are research items, it's news items that have not yet been broke. And people in the reporters, news organizations really need to be aware of them. So anything that you can do to spread all those articles, or the ones that you think are important, they're all very important, actually, by the way. But the ones you think are particularly interesting and significant, please do what you can to get those to a reporter, to a news organization, to a TV station, to an influencer on Twitter, whatever it may be. Very important. The sausage is being made in Washington, D.C. right now as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. I kid you not. Our bill is on track. But, all those conversations are happening right now. The bill has not yet been marked up. The bill could be it could be weakened significantly. I hope that's not going to happen. I kind of don't think it is, but much depends on how hard we fight right now. We're a fiercely nonpartisan group, by the way. Calling us a conservative group is just an absolute, it's so insulting. It's just, it makes blood shoot out of my eyes. Anyone who's been on this group for any length of time knows that we pretty much hate both parties at this point. But we ally, like the last candidate that we could support was like Jill Stein. Going back to our very foundations, the book that we published was through Beacon Press, extremely liberal place. Probably our best friend in the universe is people like Ralph Nader. So to call us conservative is just disgusting. We want to get this problem solved, guys. We want to get it solved. And getting this bill through, the easiest way to make that happen is to get a few more Republican co-sponsors on this bill. We go into the lion's den, ladies and gentlemen. We don't preach to the choir. That's never worked. With this problem, it will never work. If we sit there and kiss the asses of Democrats all day long, what we're going to get is up to $50,000, which is a trick. It's a joke. And I hate to say that, but it just is. And hopefully, if you've watched this problem go for a few years and thought about things, maybe if you're of a certain age and experience and wisdom, hopefully I don't even need to tell you this because you already can feel it. We've seen what Washington, D.C. doesn't do. And hopefully you should all, if you don't understand it intellectually, hopefully you'll at least feel it viscerally that, sure would be nice to at least have the threat of bankruptcy back on my side. So how true that is. We don't want to get tricked again, guys. We do not want to get played for fools again. And as long as guys like this Bombcat number 9 guy are going around trying to throw cold water on bankruptcy and try and pit bankruptcy against student loan cancellation, which is the most dishonest, disgusting, despicable thing that I can think of, we're going to have problems. So, all right, guys, I hope this is clear. One quick announcement. We're doing a talk on Thursday, very important talk with the University of Southern California, Stanford, people from UC Irvine, Jonathan Glader, former New York Times reporter, others. It's going to be really interesting. It's happening on Thursday. I believe it's happening, I want to say, at 6 p.m. maybe, Pacific time, but I'm not 100% on the time. Just go to bit.ly, bit.ly/4 free students. So this is happening on Thursday. And so, yeah, please do that. Okay, guys. Well, let's make this a very strong week. We need you. We're not going to get anywhere without your help. We are as grassroots gets. And so it is just absolutely and critically important that you help, because these are your loans and this is your problem. And we can't screw around. We can't allow ourselves to be screwed. Nobody in Washington, D.C., nobody on Facebook or the internet is going to fight this battle for you. You have to fight this battle for you and for your family. And quite frankly, for the tens or even hundreds of millions of people who are going to follow in our footsteps. So come on, guys. Let's get this going. Let's make this happen. And yeah, register for our thing, bit.ly/free students. I think Heather actually posted a link to it below. So, all right, guys, well, have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday. Ed will be here on Tuesday tomorrow. Hang in there. Keep fighting. Don't ever stop fighting. Help us. Help yourself. Be the change you want to see, as they say. It's getting real, guys. It is getting real, and we need you right now. And tell a friend about this group. Because right now, we're the only people fighting for the actual solution path that will actually cause loans to be actually canceled. Don't forget that. So good luck. Godspeed. God bless everybody. Oh, and hey, cat number 9 guy, you owe me an apology.